Amazing. I was just reading Thom Wheeler's blog. He actually has a blog. Where is it? I printed it out, and then I closed the window. Oh, here it is. There's been a great deal of misinformation that has recently surfaced regarding the draft open internet notice of proposed rulemaking that we will today circulate to the commission. He writes on April 24th, that would be today. The notice proposes the reinstatement of the open internet concepts. Notice he's not using the phrase net neutrality. Adopted by the commission in 2010 and subsequently remanded by the D.C. Circuit. The notice does not change the underlying goals of transparency, no blocking of lawful content, and no unreasonable discrimination among users established by the 2010 rule. Well, it's not users we're talking about, it's providers. And what the heck does unreasonable mean? But that's a whole other issue. The notice does follow the roadmap established by the court. This is the court that struck down net neutrality and said, if you want to have net neutrality, Thom Wheeler, all you have to do is declare that the ISPs are common carriers. His entire blog could have been one sentence. I hereby declare internet service providers, parenthesis, ISPs, close parenthesis, are common carriers. Period. That's all he has to do. That's it. Anyhow. He says the notice does follow the roadmap established by the court as to how to enforce rules of the road that protect an open internet and asks for further comments on the approach. It is my intention to conclude this proceeding and have enforceable rules by the end of the year. To be very direct, the proposal would establish that behavior harmful to consumers or competition by limiting the openness of the internet will not be permitted. Really? Internet accounts have reported that incorrect accounts have reported that the earlier policies of the commission have been abandoned. 2 points are relevant here. One, the Court of Appeals made it clear that the FCC could stop harmful conduct if it were found to be not commercially reasonable. Oh, really? Isn't that sweet? Acting within the constraints of the court's decision, the notice will propose rules that establish a high bar for what is commercially reasonable. In addition, the notice will seek ideas on other approaches to achieve the important goal consistent with the court's decision. The notice will also observe that the commission believes it has the authority under Supreme Court precedent to identify behavior that is or flatly illegal. Let me translate that into English. He's saying, we, as a big government agency, the FCC, are going to get to decide what is and isn't a commercially appropriate behavior on the internet. We're not talking about pornography here. We're talking about Netflix versus the startup guy in his garage. I would think that the right wing would be going nuts about this. Because what he's saying is, we're going to create this giant big government bureaucracy to micromanage all these companies on the internet, when all he has to do is say, ISPs, internet service providers, are common carriers. They may not inspect the content or the source of the data going through them and charge a different price either to the provider or the recipient based on that source or that content. Period. It's simple. But no, the guy who's the former lobbyist for the internet companies has to make it complicated.